So my name is Abraham Daniel. I am the District Interact Chair 2024-2025, and I will be taking you through this evening's proceedings. A little bit of housekeeping. Everyone is going to be put on mute. Should you have any questions or relevant comments, kindly put those in the chat. Because of the compact nature of this evening's session, we have allocated some time towards the back end of the seminar so that you can have those questions answered as much as we can. I'm sure you're going to have lots of questions. We do have a very packed and informative session this afternoon. We have lots of presenters. I'm going to bring up. Right, just to share some of the objectives for this afternoon session. This is yours, advisors, liaison officers, and everyone else that's related to Interact. There is something in this evening's presentations that would meet, your needs as an interested person for Interact within District 7030. So a few objectives. First, I'm going to share with you, or you're going to learn about where is Interact in District 70 at this time, how many clubs, where they are, and so on. So a little bit of demographic information where clubs are. Secondly, to understand the importance of your role as a critical link to Interact, right? Keep in mind the big picture here, which is whatever you're doing where Interact is concerned in our district is all with the intent of shaping the future leaders of Rotary across the globe. Thirdly, to learn about our Interact Council, which has been established during this year. I know many persons are still not fully aware, and we're working on getting some information out, but we will share, we'll give you a little insight on the Interact Council. Fourthly, applications for Interact Awards. Yes, we're hitting the second part of the Interact year, and there are many awards that are available which will enable Interact clubs to be to be recognized for the efforts that they have put in for this year, for this Interact year. And then lastly, we're going to wrap up this evening's proceedings. I know it's not quite, time for handing over. It's going to be coming up later on, in this Rotary year around, June into July. So how can you ensure that handovers of Interact clubs are efficient and effective, just as we expect Rotary clubs to be handed over from one leadership team to the next. So those are the objectives. We'll circle back to these at the end of the session to ensure that we have covered them, but I'm certain that we will. What we have lined up this afternoon is a cadre of very well experienced and knowledgeable Rotarians first. They're all members of the District Interact Council, and they, so far over the last few years, they have played a really, really key role in shaping Interact, not only to where we are now, but in terms of what is planned in the years to come. This Interact committee, is really, really hardworking, and I'm sure after their presentations, you will see indicators of that. So we have a very compact session, as I said, so we're going to head straight into our first presentation. And how we're going to approach this is for each of the presentations, you will have the presenter introduced by someone so that you understand, the background to the presenter in sharing, information on the relevant topic. So let's start off by the first presentation, which is Interact Clubs in District 7030. So, Nisha, your introduction.
Good evening, everyone. So we would have our first presentation by our hardworking District Interact Chair, presenter Abraham. So DIC.
Yes, thank you, Nisha. All right, so my segment here, it's very, I would say, short. So this is where we are as of well, this has to be updated, I would say, as of the 12th of March, which is today. We have moved up to 85 clubs, Interact clubs in District 7030. The latest club to join the family, I got their charter certificate this afternoon, and that would be shared with the president. But 84 clubs we have moved at the start of the year by 6 clubs. We have increased the number of Interact clubs by 6 for this route, for this Interact year thus far. And there are two or three more clubs that have already submitted their application for certification. So that should be forthcoming. So in other words, there's quite a lot of movement where Interact is concerned in our district. The Interact committee has set a goal for how many clubs we want to get to. But in addition to that, something that you should take note of, and that is the number of Interact clubs have actually surpassed the number of Rotary clubs that we have in District 7030. As of today, we got about 75 Rotary clubs, and we now have 84 Interact clubs. We have, in terms of the Rotary clubs, just about 2,500 Rotarians within our district, and our interactors have actually exceeded, Interact members have actually exceeded the number of Rotarians attached to clubs in our district. What's the significance of this? The significance of this is that, just as what the numbers demonstrate, we have a very vibrant Interact movement within District 7030. Your role as advisors, as liaison officers, and persons who, shape Interact for your respective clubs is simply, but yet very, very important towards ensuring that the interactors remain enthused, engaged, excited about Interact so that they can transition into Rotaract and then further into Rotary someday. So your role is critical, and that's the backdrop to having this session this afternoon. It's something that has been in the pipeline for some time. We think that the advisor group, the teacher liaison group, sometimes get overshadowed, overlooked, but they play a key role in connecting Rotary clubs to their Interact clubs. So a little bit of demographic data, as you can see from this, the majority of clubs are, or the greater part of the Interact clubs are from Trinidad. And, by extension, it mirrors the amount of Rotary clubs that we have in Trinidad. But it also tells us another story, which is not quite shown here. Almost half of the clubs, Rotary clubs in District 7030, do not have any Interact clubs sponsored. And that's an area that we're going to be focusing on for the remainder of this year and into the new Rotary year 2025-2026. Of the total number of clubs that we have, the majority are school-based, right? We do have a few community-based clubs. So it's a good mix, and we do get some good work coming out from some good projects coming from the community-based clubs as well as the school-based clubs. What's also happening to Interact in District 7030 is that we are now spreading our wings. We are now establishing connections beyond District 7030. We have established connections with District 6970, District 6930, District 5450, and we just came off another meeting earlier preceding this one with 7020. So Interact is not only being looked at inwardly in District 7030, but we are now looking outwardly. And it's really exciting times for interactors. And you, as advisors and liaison officers, will also be involved and engaged in ensuring that our interactors safely connect with, their counterparts outside of District 7030 so that they can conduct meaningful and impactful service projects, not only community service, but projects geared towards international understanding. So this is my brief insight into Interact clubs within District 7030. I know we have more presentations planned for our PELS training as well as, district conference. But I thought it would have been useful to put some perspective on where we are in District 7030, where with our Interact clubs and the importance of your role as advisors and liaison officers to ensure that Interact continues to grow in our district in years to come. So that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
We'll now
DIC. And I just want to introduce and DIC Abraham. He belongs to the Rotary Club of Chaguanas, Trinidad and Tobago. The number of years in Rotary would be 18, quite a lot. His present Rotary position would be District Interact Chair. Past Rotary positions include very, very wonderful and dedicated DIC, Assistant Governor for 3 years, Club President twice, Secretary twice, Club Secretary, Club Director, Club Trainer, and Youth Services Chair. Thank you so much, DIC.
Thank you very much, Rotary Anisha. So we now move on to presentation number 2, and I'll ask, DIC member Janelle to introduce the presenter.
Good evening, everyone. Our second presenter this evening is Frederick Nuber of the Rotary Club of Aruba. Now, Frederick joined Rotary in December 2015, and he is a tax lawyer in his private practice in Aruba since 2005. He's also the president, well, he was the president of his club for the 21-22 Rotary year, and he's a charter club advisor for the Interact Club of Aruba, the Interact Club of Colegio Arubano, and the Interact Club of International School Aruba. Frederick is currently the Assistant Governor-elect for the area Aruba and Bonaire. He's also a Paul Harris Fellow to Sophia and enjoys his passion for service with fellow Rotarians. Let's welcome him. He's going to share with us on the roles and responsibilities of Interact advisors and liaison officers.
Thank you so much, Chanel. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here and giving your time to our presentation. We're going to talk a little bit about Interact advisors, your position, most of you, and the role, the responsibilities that come with it. So Interact advisors are Rotarians, they're road directors, the teachers, parents, or community volunteers. Rotarians, Interact advisors, in Aruba we call them club advisors, teachers that do the same kind of work we call faculty advisors, but all in the same name is Interact advisors. They serve as a liaison of their Rotary club, Rotary clubs, or to the Interact clubs. They make sure that everyone who is involved in the Interact clubs follow Rotary International policies on safeguarding young people. Each Interact club must have at least one advisor to guide its members and to help in developing young leaders' skills. The responsibilities of the advisors. As an advisor, you have a unique opportunity to mentor and support young people. Interact advisors are committed to maintaining youth safety in the first place and overseeing finances of the Interact clubs and monitoring interactors. In addition, advisors assist interactors in planning service projects or other events. An example of an event is the World Interact Week, which is celebrated each year in the month of November. Another responsibility of advisors, Interact advisors, is to maintain youth safety, as mentioned before, oversee the finances of the club, very important. In this instance, the Interact advisors assist the treasurer with financial guidance. And another responsibility is to mentor and support interactors by attending general members meetings and board members meetings. Also to assist in planning at least 2 service projects each club year. I think now somebody else is taking over.
Yes, so thank you very much, Rotarian Frederick, AG Frederick. We'll now have AG Evangeline share with us. Evangeline is the Assistant Governor for the Rotary clubs in Antigua, and she has also been a Rotarian for quite a number of years actively. She's currently serving as the District RILA Chair for 2025-2026 and has a wealth of knowledge in Rotary. So we will hand over to AG Evangeline.
Thank you, Janelle. Just a correction, past Assistant Governor. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So we continue with the responsibilities. So number 7 says guiding club operations and activities. And by doing so, you make the Interact handbook. And this is a guide available, should be available to all Interact club members. The advisor also should help maintain accurate club records and reporting requirements, oversee officers' elections, and provide guidance to make sure that the election is done fairly. He or she must also maintain a relationship with the sponsor club. Next slide. As the advisor, you should be fostering Rotary connections. And we know some advisors are Rotarians and some are not. But be it as it may, you should maintain a relationship with the sponsor club. You must promote the Interact Club to Rotary members, school leaders, and community members, as well as interactors. He or she must also coordinate leadership training for Interact officers by connecting them with RILA district leadership events. You must also exchange stories, ideas, and strategies with the District Interact Club. Thank you.
All right. So thanks very much, AGE Frederick and PAG Evangeline, for elaborating on the roles of the Interact advisors / liaison officers. And as you can see from the list of responsibilities, and this information was extracted from the Interact handbook. There is a handbook for advisors and sponsor club. So it's a really good resource. Wait, maybe you can drop that in the link. But it's a really good resource that all Interact Club advisors and liaison officers should have. You should go through. There's some basic stuff, but really important things that would enable you to better and more clearly define and to identify what your responsibilities are. As you would have heard from the presentation, the responsibilities, I mean, it's a long list, but it underscores the importance of your role in ensuring that your Interact clubs remain vibrant. You create a sense of direction. You create a sense of accountability. And in my years of being in Rotary and being the Youth Services Chair, and even as past assistant governor, I would have had the privilege of seeing and observing some Interact clubs and some of the challenges that they're faced with, especially when you have interactors that graduate, leave the school, a void is created in terms of the continuity of the club. So a key role that you will have to fulfill would be to ensure the continuity of the club. I would think that the more discipline that you instill within the club to operate within the guidelines established for Interact by Rotary International, that discipline is going to redound, if into a benefit should they move on to Rotaract clubs as well, and then later on in life when they connect with Rotary clubs. So thanks very much, AGE Frederick and PAG Vanji. We now move on to presentation number 3, and we have an introduction by DIC member Annie.
Good evening, everyone. Rotarian Annie here. I am going to present our next presenter, Yvonne Mohabi from the Rotary Club of Paramaribo Residence, Suriname. She spent 6+ years in Rotary. So Rotary positions would have been a member, DIC, member of the Girls Empowerment Team. She was a former Rotaractor, which means she knows a lot about Interact, Rotaract, and Rotary. Former Secretary, Public Image Chair. So please welcome Rotarian Yvonne.
Thank you, thank you, President-elect Anne. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to do a part in this session today. District Interact Council. This is something new for our district. Maybe you have heard of it. There are many Interact councils within other districts, and this is something new. So I will take you to the journey about how we established our District 7030 Interact Council. What is an Interact Council? A District Interact Council is a working group of young interactors between 15 and 18 years. We see the age is 15 till 18, not from 12 as it is with interactors, because some experience in Interact is needed before you will be a member of this Interact Council. The purpose will be to provide support to and drive the District Interact program on behalf of the Interact community. The council is led by a District Interact representative. The council is intended to work alongside the District Interact Committee, which comprises Rotarians led by the District Interact Chair, Ibrahim. The Interact Council is recommended by Rotary International. We have our, next slide please, we have our, what are the benefits of the District Interact Council? What are the benefits for everyone and for the district? And now for District 7030, It provides an opportunity for interactors to serve at the interact district level. That means they can have leadership level in various roles. It fosters youth development and leadership at another level. It cultivates youth empowerment and youth voice. It encourages a deeper interest in volunteerism and Rotary, and it creates partnership with Rotary and aids in the closing of transition gaps. So I think I am like a few years now a member of the Interact Committee, and we started about we need to have a council, and we started with the preparations of it. And in January this year, it was final that we had a district interact representative, Zaida, and she has an assistant. So you have to see this as a whole committee with it. There are only interactors from different countries, and they have the same what do you say, the same level of hierarchy in their work system. So you have a district interact representative. There is an assistant, there is a secretary, and there are committee members. I am a member also in this council because I am a part of the Interact Committee. So I am the member of the Interact Committee in this council. And what we have is that we have for all the countries in District 7030, we have different countries. And for all the countries, we have area coordinators. So you have Trinidad, ABC Island, and where you see vacant, and you if you are advisor of one of those countries, please, we need to fill in these places. So if there is someone from French Island or from the ABC Island, please talk to your Interact clubs and have us fill these 5 empty spaces. And you can give us the names, and we will make this work together. There is also, beside of the area coordinators, we also have service coordinator who has to do a service project in all the Interact clubs in the whole district. We have the international service coordinator, we have liaisons officers, we have the conference coordinator. As you know, the last few years we had the Interact conference, and Interact conference was always a part that was it was district Interact committee who was preparing the conference, but now it is something that the council has to do. So the interactors will have their own other interactors helping them to organize this conference, because they have media coordinators. So you see, this is the complete. It is very nice that our district now has an Interact council, and this council will stay till the end of the Rotary year, Chair. And after that,
Yes.
we need to fill in these spaces again. So if you have suggestions, if you have interactors who you think will be a great part of this council, please let us know. And then we need to have this going on. And for the next year, I think the applications will be sent out soon. Thank you. That was my part.
Okay, so thank you very much, Rotary and Yvonne. Rotary and Yvonne is, working in the background, working hand in hand with the council members, providing guidance, mentorship. So a really, really, important role she's playing in ensuring that council members fulfill their responsibilities. And if I were to add my bit to the council and its evolution, this is something that's supported by, as we said, Rotary International, who over the years have been, even as you would have seen with Rotaract, pushing down, I would say on our youth programs, and the council in particular is one of the mechanisms for which, more autonomy is being given to interactors to shape, where Interact moves in the years to come. Is the council has been 2 years in the making in District 7030 in setting it up. We did go through a rigorous program of screening and interviews for especially the District Interact representative and assistant positions. For where we had multiple applicants, we would have screened, interviewed, and selected those persons we thought, really, really showed that, deep desire for wanting to lead Interact, not only this year, but I think some of their ages may allow them to continue on for next year. But as Rotary and Yvonne indicated, we are still building out the council. This is all new to District 7030, right? And we want to get it right. So we are on the, lookout. We need the
Think you should
support.
actually listen to your little meeting thing.
Yeah, we need the sorry. Yeah, we need the support of you as the advisors to assist with the identification of interactors who can fit into the council. It's an excellent opportunity for they to be involved with Interact beyond their club level. So for the rest of this year and even going into next year, please look out for communication relating to the opening up of applications for the new team going into 2025, 2026. So thanks very much, Rotary and Yvonne. So we now move on to presentation number 4. And again, introduction by Rotary and Annie.
Good evening again. I am here to present Rotarian Wahida Ali, who will talk about the Interact Awards. Rotarian Wahida comes from the Rotary Club of Georgetown Central in Guyana. She spent 6 years in Rotary. Her present position is the secretary, and her past Rotary positions include club admin director, treasurer, and member of the District Interact Committee. Please welcome Rotarian Wahida.
Thank you, President-elect Annie. We will now highlight the 3 major award categories available for Interact clubs. First, Rotary International Interact Excellence Award. Second, Zone 34 Award. Third, District 7030 Interact Excellence Award. It is important to note that the requirements for these awards are similar across all 3 categories. To be eligible for the awards, clubs must be registered with Rotary International and maintain an active status. What does active status mean? Each year, Interact clubs are required to update their advisor details with Rotary International. Failure to update this information for 2 years will result in club suspension by RI. The Zone 34 award recognizes Interact clubs that excel in key areas of club operations and engagement. There are 10 requirements covering the following areas: club meetings, membership growth and engagement, active service projects or fundraisers, leadership, Rotary collaboration. To qualify, clubs must earn a minimum of 50 points with point values assigned to each criterion. All submissions must be completed online and the deadline to submit is April 15 via a Google form. The District 7030 Interact Excellence Award encourages clubs to develop well-balanced programs aligned with Rotary's areas of focus and the district's specific goals and objectives. Achieving this award reflects your club's vibrancy and engagement of members. The theme for this award is Elevate the Magic of Interact. The 4 categories of the Excellence Awards are point-based, District Governor Excellence, scoring above 300 points, Gold, scoring above 200 points, Silver, scoring above 150 points, and the last, Bronze, scoring between 100 to 150 points. To qualify, ensure all award requirements are met and submit the signed award application form by April 30th to the District Interact Committee. The email is displayed. The Rotary International Interact Excellence Award is the highest recognition for Interact clubs, honoring those that actively support the Rotary Action Plan. To qualify, clubs must complete activities that increase impact, expand reach, enhance participant engagement, and improve adaptability. To be eligible, clubs must achieve at least 11 of 20 goals outlined in the Rotary International Worksheet, which serves as both a goal setting and tracking tool. Nominations are submitted by Interact Club advisors or sponsor Rotary Club presidents. The nomination deadline is August 15th. This concludes the award segment.
Thank you. So wrapping up, we must talk a bit about the Interact Club handing over. And to do so, I'm going to call on one of our members, Dr. Nisha Harry, a Rotarian of 11 years and a member of the Rotary Club of Felicity Charleville in Trinidad. She is the District Girls Empowerment Chair currently and has served as president, among other things, at the club level. Please welcome Rotarian Nisha.
Thank you so much, and good evening, everyone. So, Interact Club's handing over. In the context of an Interact Club, the handing over refers to the formal transfer of leadership and responsibilities from the outgoing team of officers to the newly elected incoming team. Very important then, before we go into the actual aspects of the handing over, very important would be, what are you handing over? So the outgoing team is figuratively and sometimes symbolically passing leadership tools or even a team to the new team. It is about celebrating past contributions and setting the stage for the future. So some of the things that can be handed over, gavel, which symbolizes authority and leadership, and is often handed from the outgoing president to the incoming president. We also have charter or official documents which represent the club's legacy and continuity, and this can be passed down to signify the club's foundation and purpose. Pins and badges as well. Leadership pins, such as those for the president, vice president, and the other roles are handed over to the new team. In terms of club banner or flag, a ceremonial banner may be passed as a symbol of the club's identity and spirit. You may also have project files and reports, very important, so that outgoing officers can hand over documentation of ongoing projects or initiatives to ensure a smooth transition. Then if we look at leadership manual or guidelines, a document perhaps or a guidebook containing tips, strategies, and perhaps lessons learned by the outgoing board to help the incoming team. And then, of course, certificates and mementos, to name a few. The outgoing team might, want certificates or to present certificates and awards to commemorate their services and the contributions. Next slide. And so, if we look at handing over and some best practices, we would see the planning and preparation, execution on the day, and post-ceremony follow-up. So in terms of planning and preparation, set clear goals. So you must define the purpose of the event and what you hope to achieve. For example, celebrating achievements, inspiring members, or strengthening relationships. You could also form an organizing committee, assign roles, to ensure tasks like venue setups, invitations, and program flow are well coordinated. Very important and is a very nice gesture to choose an inspiring team, and you could pick a team that resonates with your club's values and goals for that particular year. And I just, named a few here, soaring into tomorrow, sailing into the future, planting seeds of change, illuminate the path, charting the course, write the next chapter, to name a few. And of course, create a program to ensure the program flows seamlessly, balancing formalities with engaging moments to keep the audience's attention. And of course, very important, to rehearse in advance. And if we move to execution on the day, what would be important, we have a warm welcome, then timeliness is important. You have to start and end on time. We try to show respect for your attendees' schedules. Engage the audience, of course, by using visuals or even performances to keep the audience entertained and connected. You can have, as mentioned before, symbolic gestures, impactful speeches, and of course, you would want to build anticipation, excite members about the incoming team's vision and upcoming plans, creating that sense of momentum. And in terms of the post follow-up, very important to capture memories, arrange for photography or videography to document the event, share photos or highlights with members afterwards. Feedback is also important. And this is not always considered, but it's important to collect feedback from attendees to identify areas for improvement in future ceremonies. And of course, celebrate together. You could also host a small gathering or refreshment post-event to encourage bonding among members and guests. Next slide. And key elements, of course, when we look at it in terms of what is happening on the day itself, registration and follow-up, the opening segment that we normally would have, recap of the year, the outgoing president's address, the symbolic handing over, in terms of what we just spoke about, introduction of incoming board and pledge by incoming board, and of course, the incoming president's address. Special recognitions and awards would really always be significant. An entertainment segment that could be dispersed throughout, your closing segment, and of course, socializing and network. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you very much, Nisha, for enlightening us on some really good practical ideas for Interact handing over. I know it sounds as though it's very formal, But it's something that we're looking to encourage. You decide for your Interact clubs the extent to which you want to add how much formality that you think is good enough for your club. We added this to this session because I know, as I indicated earlier, it's something that's coming up later in the next few months, and we want to get it right. As I said, many clubs, we still see the ups and downs where Interact clubs lose time because elections are not held on time, and then they go into the new Interact year, and they lose, a few months into the year, productive months, which, could be utilized for planning projects. The other thing which we're looking to encourage within the district is for Interact clubs to come out of the mode in which they have, many clubs have operated over the years, which is there's a vacation period. What we want to encourage, I mean, we want students, we want children to enjoy their vacation, but at the same time, we want Interact to continue. So some really good ideas. One of the things which I personally would have practiced and has worked well over the years for the clubs that we would have sponsored was to develop a little template and a handover template, and that template would touch on some of the key areas that Rotary and Nisha would have mentioned here. That adds to some consistency in how the handing over takes place from one leadership team to the next. So I think we're right about good with time. We have maybe a few minutes before we wrap up, where we would open the floor to you, the participants. This is your session, and I'm sure you may have some comments, questions, whatever it is relating to Interact that we would have touched on this evening, or even if it's something that we would not have covered this evening, right? We want to leave the session this afternoon with you, whatever questions you may have come in, whatever concerns you may have had for the Interact clubs for which you have oversight and even interact within the district. We want to make sure that you leave, much more informed than when you came in. So the floor is now open. I'm not sure if we have any questions in the chat. I did see a comment asking if the presentation will be shared. The answer is yes, it will be sent. The reason why we went the route of registration is that whatever content that you need following the session, we will mail it off to you based on the email that was used for registration. So certainly, yes. We have a question here from Beverly. She said she started a new Interact club this year. Is there a format or template for the pinning ceremony? So I'll give the members of the District Interact Committee the opportunity to respond based on what's practiced in your areas, and then I will share some thoughts on what we practice in our club. So I put the members on spot a little bit. PhD Vanji, what happens out in Antigua?
Okay, so we have the Youth Services Director on, so I'm going to yield to her, Roseanne Emmanuel.
Wonderful.
She's on the chat.
Yeah. Roseanne?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, so for Antigua, what we do, Rotary Club of Antigua has two clubs under us, so which is the Interact Clubs of Christ the King and St. Joseph Academy. So I usually like to have them come together and do a joint handover ceremony. But we do elections separate, so we'll conduct elections in April, and then probably in May, little before they start the exams. Then we do the official handover ceremony where we present them with their certificates of participation, any outstanding students who we who we see go above and beyond this Interact year. We give them awards. We present the outgoing presidents with their gavel and plaques, and we officially pin the new executive. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it's always good to hear the practices that are played out in the different territories. Let me put again another member on the spot. Well, E.g. Janelle, what happens out in St. Vincent?
Actually, we've just chartered some clubs. So our oldest club is about a year old. So we've not really had a handover. So I too am listening and learning. This will be the first year that our clubs will be handing over to a new executive. So I take the guidance of Antigua with gratitude.
All right. So what we practice, well, we have our Rotary Club has sponsored 3 Interact clubs, and the pinning ceremony is wide and varied in that we have utilized the opportunity when we have a Rotary function where we would invite the Interact, especially like sometimes during the handing over their board members to do the pinning. I've also had, many instances where I, as the youth services chair for the sponsor club, been invited to the school's gathering. It can be sometimes they meet in the morning and where they have the entire school that's present. And then the principal and the teachers, come around, the teacher liaison come around. And it's a really, to me, I found that to be the most, I would say, effective. That one is probably the most, I would say, appreciated by the students of the school because it's done in front of the entire school when they gather for their morning prayer and their morning, discipline routine. So the sponsor club organizes or helps them to organize their badges in advance. They actually tell us when they're about to plan the process of planning their handovers, how many badges they need. And then we procure the badges on their behalf and we make them available. And they actually, allocate some time for pinning of their new board members in front of the entire school, population. So I found that to be very, very effective. Any other members of the committee who wants to chime in with their practice? Yvonne, what happens out in Suriname?
Chair?
Yes, what happens out in Suriname with respect to Interact pinning?
Pinning.
Yes.
It's like with the charter pinning or
I'm not sure on the question, but we can cover both charter as well. Well, she said it's a new Interact club, so yes, pinning
yes.
of charter.
When we had a new Interact club, like Brick by Brick, I was there from the start. So what we did is we had a whole set of pins we bought at Russell's. You have the whole set with the president pin, the secretary, etc. And what we did is like my president of the Rotary Club pinned the president of the Interact Club. And then the president of the Interact Club, the new president of the Interact Club, pinned her board. And then the board is like the secretary, the treasurer, the sergeant at arms, and the vice president. So then 5 members are pinned, and those 5 pins the leadership team, like the directors, And what we do at a handing over, when we have a handing over, what we do is we have new pins for them. So we let the secretary and the president hold their old pin, and we have new pins. We have new set pins each year. because you know, there are kids and they have been a president. They want to have their pin, so we let them keep their pin. They are not allowed to wear it anymore, but we have a past president pin also. And what we do is like 101, we pin the new board. It's the same follow-up. We do that. And when we have newer members that come abroad, so what we do is in Suriname, we do exactly, no, not exactly, but what we do is we have projects and we have meetings, right? So the prospect members who come to the club needs to attend at least 60% of the meetings and have been, I think, 50% of the projects. And then when they have to attend 6 meetings and have to do 50% of the projects. And then they are asked if they want to join the Interact. And if they want to join the Interact, they are pinned. So that's what we do.
Yeah.
It's a whole
Okay.
system.
Yeah, thank you, Yvonne. So, Beverly, I think you would have gotten some ideas here for handing over as well as a new club. I would, wrap that up by saying, make it as, as big as you want to. It's really an auspicious occasion. Let it be a nice, nice hyped up event. Ensure that, it's done. I think it would be better if it's done together with Rotary. Representation, whether the interactors come to a Rotary function or whether Rotarians visit, the interactors at their school, if it's a community-based club, wherever they are. But make it an event where it's going to be memorable for the interactors. Right, so we had a request for the Interact handbooks, both the Interact handbook as well as the handbook for advisors and sponsor clubs have been put in the chat, so you can download these. Actually, I have not seen a French version. I will look for it, and if there is one, Noah, I've taken a note. For French version of handbooks. Yes, I'll take a note, and if I encounter that, I have not actually seen any of those. Okay, so 2 more minutes we'll allow if we have any questions, comments as we wrap up. I mean, this is your session. This is, we really, really appreciate what you guys are doing for Interact. We want to engage you. We want to involve you some more. One of the challenges we have within the district, and I'm being very open with this, is that communication with advisors is a little bit of a challenge. Sometimes we don't know where the communication gets stuck, whether it is at the club level or wherever, but we would like to strengthen that communication link with you, right? So we do have most of your email addresses. I haven't gotten much rebounds, so I assume it's working. So please feel free whenever communication is sent out to you. We would appreciate at least some acknowledgement that it has been received, so we know that communication has taken place. All right. So if we don't have any more questions or comments, I don't see anyone raise their hands. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to attend this session. We thought that it was timely enough, notwithstanding where we are in the Interact year, so we can share some of this information with you so that you can be better and enlightened. We also want to thank the entire DIC team for putting together this session in terms of the content, the presentation, right, and even getting ready, and even themselves being available for this afternoon. I know everyone is extremely busy, lots of stuff happening in the district, and Interact is just one of them, but thanks, we have a really dedicated team. Then lastly, I want to also thank the district communication team for facilitating us via this virtual platform so that, it can be executed in a manner where, everyone can participate as well as, listening and learn. So thanks everyone for joining with us. Do stay safe, and certainly as we head into the year, we want to see a lot of applications. Every single club, we want to see applications for the Interact Awards. That's something that the interactors really look forward to. I know because I have the privilege sometimes of sending off the awards to them, even at the Interact conference. When the awards are presented, we do get a lot of excitement generated amongst those clubs that have achieved the distinction of any one or all of the awards. So we look forward to that. There would be a communication blast going out either maybe next week regarding the 3 awards that Rotary and Wahida would have presented, and you will have access to the applications. Please work with the Interact clubs, have them completed, and we look forward to giving out as many awards as we can this year. So thanks everyone. We're signing off now. See you sometime again. Thank you.